What happens 74 times a day, takes 25 minutes to recover from, and results in probably about just over 2 hours of loss per day? Distractions. Good morning, everybody. I'm Brooke Scutt. Welcome to Momentum Live. Let's talk about distractions. So in my own exploration to try to regain focus and some discipline, and in really, overcoming these distractions in my life, I started to do more research, and I stumbled again upon one of my absolute favorite podcasts, which is Game Changers with Molly Fletcher. And in this podcast, she was interviewing Nir Eyal, and what he wrote a book called Indistractable. And I want to share a couple things with you that was shared in the podcast. And I've purchased the book, and it comes tomorrow, and I'm really excited about reading it. But nevertheless, so one of the things that he pointed out with distractions was when people are distracted, there are a couple of different ways that people respond. You can either be a blamer, meaning that you say, how could I possibly focus? Facebook is distracting. People keep interrupting me. My news feed, the email, I have to respond. They blame on external forces. The second type is called a shamer. So then what they do is when they're distracted by something, they turn internally and say, look, I have no discipline. I have no focus. I did it again. I got distracted. I checked my email, so on. But what Nir says is that we should focus on being a claimer. And the claimer is understanding that we're not responsible for these technologies, that we didn't create these technologies that are distracting us. Social media, our email, Slack, all these different tools and resources that try to distract us. We didn't create those, but we do need to be responsible in how we manage those. So I thought that was really interesting because, I've experienced the blaming, the shaming, and claiming, throughout my whole process of getting distracted and getting back on track. So one of the things that he recommends that I wanted to share with you was a 10-minute rule exercise. And the 10-minute rule exercise is that he goes on to explain the psychology behind it, and I encourage you to listen to the podcast. I'll leave it in the comments so you can see it. But the 10-minute rule is that when you find yourself distracted, that you really need to spend, you can do one of two things. Either get back to the task on hand or spend 10 minutes, set a timer, spend 10 minutes, and really dig into why you are distracted. What are the internal reasons for why you are feeling distracted? Is it, does it have to do with wanting to avoid an event? What are the emotions that are occurring? What are the feelings that are coming out of that? And what he says is that 9 times out of 10, you will return back to your original activity. One example I thought was so neat and so relevant was he was talking about chocolate cake. And I thought this was kind of cool because his first book that he wrote was about habits. It's called Hooked. I've lost my train of thought there for a second. So one of the things he talked about was eating chocolate cake, for example. So when you have that compulsion or that desire to be distracted from your healthy eating plan, this is when he implemented the 10-minute rule. So if you wait 10 minutes, and then after the end of the 10 minutes, if you still want that distraction, i.e. chocolate cake, then in fact you can have it. I really thought this was interesting. I just wanted to share it. Think about when you get distracted so many times a day. And, what is it that you say to yourself? Do you blame external factors? Do you blame being in an open concept office? Do you blame social media, alerts, notifications on your phone? Do you shame yourself and put yourself down thinking that it's your discipline that's really holding you back? Or do you claim responsibility, understanding what's in your control and what's outside of your control? I hope you guys have a great Monday and a great week, and I'll see y'all next week.